Hi, and welcome to the podcast with me, Dr. Sally. And today I'm so excited to be joined by Daisy Mae, one of my long friends. We've known each other 20 years. I can't believe it's been so long. And she is a medical herbalist and founder of an amazing project in Portugal, in the Algarve, called Serotonia, which is a beautiful healing gardens. And she runs workshops and retreats and has a clinic there, and has 8 acres of wonderful medicinal plants, which we're going to be doing a little tour of today. So this is a lockdown special. So I'm sorry to, we don't have the best quality of photography equipment, but we're going to do our best. And I thought it'd be really lovely and interesting for people to see what's growing out there. And then in the future for me to go out with a proper film equipment and tripod and all the, what we need to make it really a little bit more high tech. So we're just going to be talking through some of the herbs that Daisy has growing there, and she's going to be showing us pictures and obviously a little video. So we've started, I think we're in the enchantment garden, aren't we, Daisy?
Yeah, we're in the enchanted garden, exactly.
And we're going to be basically working our way back towards the clinic, aren't we?
Yeah.
So,
We'll walk our way to the center. We're not going to see all the gardens, obviously, and
yes.
Only because that would just take hours. It does take a couple of hours to do it properly. Okay.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about where we are then? Just tell us maybe a little, describe what it's like there.
Oh, right.
And tell me about the name as well, the Serotonia. That's
yes.
lovely.
Well, that was one of the things Serotonia is the name of, it's the Latin name of Carob. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this around right now and show us some carob that are still, I think most people know what a carob is. Can you actually see those?
Yes, yeah.
So they are lovely and green at the minute. I'm going to go this way because there's loads over here. And carob is a substitute for chocolate to some people. I certainly was brought up on that. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And
massive
one of the
pods.
Massive pods, there they are. And by July, August, they actually turn brown. And then you can make a flour, but I actually make an oil. And with that oil, and I make that oil infused with olive oil, and it's a really high source of magnesium and calcium.
Yes.
And I also make a balm with it.
So do you actually eat that then? Is it?
Yes, in carob trees here, we have, well, I don't know how many, over 60 actual carob trees here, and we have planted some. And in this region that we're living in, the carob was a very important crop. Still is a bit, but today it's really the oranges and avocados that have taken over. But even fossil fuel, they make fuel from it now, many things that they make with it. But for us, it was exciting to work with that name, Serotonia. It's a food, it's a medicine, and it also has spiritual qualities. The flower essence helps us to disengage from, or disentangle, I should say, from ancestral repeated patterns, which is something that comes up a lot in one way or another when in our healing processes. So it was just like, great. And also music, because later when it gets very dry, it's like a rattle and it makes a little bit of music, which is also important for us here. So that's the name. And this is Serotonia. I mean, the whole place is called Serotonia, but you can definitely find a serotoniagardens.com. That's the gardens bits comes up because that's the most important thing. And for me, having lived in a city for a long time, for most of my life, but always being connected to nature and always realizing that nature heals and helps me. And obviously, as being in clinic for all these years, we realize just how much the medicine of the plants really, really helps people. And obviously myself. So it's been my dream actually since a child, but in 2010, that was it. come on, let's get on with this. And had already bought the land many years before, but came to Portugal in 2010 and just got the ball rolling, got the building started, if you like, though it didn't actually start till 2013. Everything takes a long time, obviously. And and we actually moved here in 2013.
Wow.
And and we haven't stopped ever since.
Yes.
We haven't stopped.
You haven't stopped. You're very busy, aren't you?
I mean, really. But the plants keep going. So what I'm again going to do, I don't know. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do is go back to that and come over. This is Love in the Mist, which I just love so much. I really hope you get a bit of a shot. There's loads of bees. And you know what? When I was waiting for you guys, well, we're waiting for the technology to work. There's a toad in here somewhere.
Ah, how exciting.
As soon as we started talking, he just stops. But
Can you show us a close-up of the flowers, Daisy?
Yeah, let me go right. Hopefully go in there. Can you see that?
Yes.
So this Love in the Mist is actually Nigella Damascena, but some people might be more familiar with its very close relative, which is black cumin. Which is Nigella sativa, which has got loads of medicinal property. But this also has medicinal property, and its seed is a digestive. But I really liked it, doing a little bit of study the other day and realizing that this herb can really help calm when there is a lot of chaos going on, which seemed quite apt.
Absolutely. What else? So I can spot some calendula, one of my favourites.
And one of my favorites too. And this whole project was nearly going to be called calendula.
I'm not surprised. So that beautiful orange flower, such an amazing herb.
Such an amazing herb. A great immune tonic, a great antiviral, antifungal.
Anti-inflammatory.
Anti-inflammatory, lymph. And often, let's see, I actually did a lot of planting yesterday in this garden. You're not constantly planting. And I planted about 20 or 30 little plants. Most of the garden has actually been done via seed. So they're all over there, actually.
Oh, and feverfew. Did I just spot some feverfew?
Yes, feverfew.
Yeah, so good for migraines, headaches.
Yes.
Beautiful plant, isn't it?
Great for anti-inflammatory again. There's a little beetle there. And
burdock.
Actually, that is Clary Sage.
Ah, okay.
That is Clary Sage, and yes, I'll just pop over that way. I just wanted to show that there's some red clover. In fact, there's a rose. I love roses. There's a lot of roses. Oh, there's the sun just come out. We have had an incredible amount of rain, which is absolutely fabulous because this is quite a drought little place. Oh, look, there's so much going on, but there is some valerian. Bit blurry.
Can you just go back? Yep, let's have a look. Yeah, we just got that. So valerian's of such a useful herb, isn't it, for reducing anxiety, to help with sleep, and such a nourishing nervine.
Such a wonderful herb. And we really use the root, but I really promise that actually just having a tea of this flower and a bit of leaf gives you're relaxed. You're completely relaxed. You're like, oh, what was I worried about?
What's the taste? Because I've often been put off valerian by the it has that smell and taste, which.
But that's the root, but the flower is much nicer.
That's what I was going to say. So in a tea, actually. So that's
much
good.
Sweeter. Yes, exactly. So that's quite a thing. Because I haven't done any. Look, I just have to show you this. This is a nepeta. So not catmint. There's catmint.
So catnip is another herb which I love for helping to reduce fevers. Very nice for children, for colic, and for I often use it for for like if children are very congested and got lots of mucus and coughs and colds. So tell me about this one. I don't know this one.
I know that I have to be honest, this is brand new to me. I bought tiny little plants in I'm just going to show me just for a second. Just for a moment. Then I'm going to go back. So,
that's fine.
No, but I because of the terrain here, I'm really over the years, I've just been practicing with everything, trial and error, going with seed. So got Valerian, got Mugwort, got lots of plants like that. But then some, when I go to the different garden centre, it's not really garden centres, but different places where they're really passionate about plants, and I see Nepeta tuberosea. That's what this is called. I check it quickly on this very phone. Medicinal, yes. Quite similar to our Nepeta cataria. And look at it. I mean, I planted
it. Looks very different though, isn't it?
Very different.
Catnip, and I suppose also people know catnip from how the effect on cats, don't they? I mean, I know over the years, whenever I've tried to grow it, my cat's usually decimated, and
exactly
a chance to be honest.
But look at this. This is catmint.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I come here. Now I know the leaf is much longer, but you can see that they're quite close. There is similarity. The flower of the catmint is completely different, but there will be similarities. Anyway. We planted loads more because it's absolutely fabulous. I love it. And funnily enough, we have quite a lot of yarrow popping up here, there, and everywhere.
So yarrow is another fantastic herb, isn't it?
It really is.
And actually, I was talking about that with our herbal medicine practitioner on one of the other podcasts about just how it's sometimes a bit overlooked, but it has so many properties, doesn't it? Digestive, circulation. It obviously was used by the Roman soldiers to help with battle wounds, wasn't it? And has that styptic, or basically that means that it reduces bleeding. So it's used. I use it a lot in my clinic for menstrual, for heavy periods, painful periods. That's probably what and for digestion, because it's so helpful to stimulate the digestion, isn't it? But there it is growing, and it's you see it everywhere, don't you? But it's do. But it is beautiful.
It's really beautiful. And yarrow is one of our crossover. I kind of call them crossovers of herbs like the Nepeta, like the calendula, that grow in both countries. Here we are down in the far south. Yeah. Exactly. And it's always these plants, because we also have, for example, we'll probably see some in a minute, plantain just grows wild here.
Yeah.
And so it's these absolute first aid.
Yeah.
Heroic herbs, if you like, that are growing all over Europe.
Yes, just like weeds, aren't they?
Exactly. So also I've been using a lot of yarrow for a lady with terrible leg congestion.
Of course, yes, for circulation.
Exactly. So I came all the way over here because look, there's a nice bit of Californian poppy.
Oh yes, another one of my favourites.
Love
it. We have a lot of that in this country now out. So useful for again for poor sleep and reducing anxiety, and just incredibly beautiful and very easy to grow in the garden, isn't it? That one I've grown that
easy. Yeah, super easy, and even for children, for coughs at night.
Yeah.
So here we come back to Clary Sage, and we got a lot of Clary Sage. Now you see, she hasn't come up yet, but you see the flowers just starting.
Yes. So I've only ever used it as the essential oil, actually. I've used it a lot for helping with labour. Actually, you can use it to enhance labour contractions in birth boxes, and for women have massage with it in labour. It can help to increase the strength of the contractions. But I don't know much else about it, Daisy.
Well, interestingly, I just did a birth box recently, and I put a wee bit of this in the mix. Because I made a tincture of it last year. So just really exciting. I've made tinctures, medicines from evening primrose flowers, from Clary Sage, and another which doesn't matter. But so I am experimenting a bit, but of course I may well in the future make some essential oils, but at the moment not. Clary Sage loves it here. I love Clary Sage. It is super relaxing. I have started to experiment, so I'm putting it in menopause mixes,
Oh, interesting.
where panic is around. It's really, I mean, it feels very estrogenic. I mean, last year I had a herbalist here, a friend, and we were harvesting it, making medicines and drinking teas of it. I mean, you felt so fertile as you were drinking it. I mean, it was quite incredible, and the smell is amazing.
Yes, I can imagine.
I mean, it's so beautiful. And look, these are all babies that have come of her own will. Hello, thank you, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Wow,
So, I mean,
they do love it there.
they really love it here. So, and I love them to be here. So I'm super pleased. There's an elder, a very young little elder. So it's a bit north of here, not much north. And this is all Hypericum, not in flower yet, but this is all Hypericum. And this will all come up into lovely flower. But I'm
beautiful yellow flowers.
Beautiful yellow flowers.
I'm sure most people know. So that's St. John's wort. You know that we use of very commonly in depression and anxiety, but also amazing wound healer, which is probably somewhat overlooked, isn't it? But that will be amazing, won't it, when it's covered in yellow flowers? Beautiful.
In fact, last year, it literally blew me away. The yellow, I had never seen such, because we've got a lot. Again, it loves it here. So we've got this, we've got a big patch there, big patch over there, big patch over there, and we'll even see other big patches. The yellow, I mean, it was incredible.
Sunshine, isn't it? The sunshine herb.
Sunshine, and they call it that, and I could really, then it dinged. I mean, obviously serotonin and things like that, so I understood. But you know why I've also come here is because this is a verbascum. And
I've just been talking about that. So we've just launched actually some products, some tonics, like lung tonics, and this one of my favorite herbs for coughs. I think it's over the years the one that I've just found to be the most helpful for chesty coughs, dry coughs, just anything. You know, it's so wonderful, so restorative to the mucous membranes, isn't it? Helps reduce phlegm and helps to loosen coughs, and bitter. It has that digestion part, lymphatics. It's so beautiful to see it then. Look at that.
Yes, I mean, she's not come into flower yet, but obviously not. But this, it will do this year. So it flowers every 2 years. Well, having said that here, I do it from seed. Is that rosette, which I could show a rosette somewhere else. That's like a whole year, if not a bit more. Then it gets bigger. And this is the 3rd year that it's actually coming into the actual spike. Yeah. You know, and it's going to come up, and it will flower this year. I know it will. Last year we had a different one over there. Again. And actually for me, I very personal, last year I went deaf in one ear. Yes. Probably varying reasons why. Anyway, I made an oil from the flowers, dropped it into my ear. Probably took about 10 days, actually. I'll be honest. It did take about that long. By about 9-10 days, pop, and I could hear again.
So that's another traditional use for it, isn't it? To make to make the infused oil. Yeah, brilliant.
Exactly. Now
what else have we got then?
This is a beauty, because this is something you wouldn't have growing, but you've got this is the Malva family. It's huge. Look, it's huge. It's all this. It's a massive tree, and this is called a Nobuta Lon.
I don't know this at all. Tell me about it.
And so it's the same family as Althea, marshmallow.
Yep, marshmallow.
And you can actually eat these flowers. There's 2 bees in there having a nice time. I better just leave them to it.
So are they quite sweet then?
Very sweet, very mucilage, soothing, and the leaves again, all the same ways that you would work with marshmallow. And I actually do have marshmallow over there. I did from seed, tiny little plants, but they do get big and they are lovely.
They do.
But nothing like this. You know, this is the one that's really happy here. This is actually from South America.
Wow. Yeah. And so do you get that? So obviously with marshmallow, you get that sort of furry fuzziness on the leaves, don't you? That obviously for coughs and irritated throats, it's so soothing, isn't it? So
soothing.
Do we get that with those leaves then?
You do, you really do. And actually I have a special digestive tea, which, bear with me, we'll come around this way. Has marshmallow, but I mean in time it will just have this leaf. It has filipendula. Now I do have a filipendula. I'm just sorry, I don't mean to hopefully, oh, gosh, we'll probably move out of this garden quite soon, but the other herb it's got is this one, which is lemon balm.
Oh yes, lovely.
This is lovely lemon balm. So lemon balm.
So wonderful for lifting the spirits, for reducing anxiety, helping with sleep, and such a lovely taste, isn't it?
It's gorgeous. So it's great, and it also is good in tummy teas. You know, it's good for tension.
Oh yes.
Good for pain, any period pains as well.
Yeah.
And actually here, well, that is mugwort. I have a lot of mugwort in different places. She's just coming out of the earth now, actually.
Yes. So
and
mugwort,
I also have a lot of,
what else have you got? Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Mugwort. So mugwort, what do you use that for? It's not one that I use a lot of, but I know obviously traditionally it's really used for period problems, isn't it? For
blood stagnation. Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Blood stagnation, but also tension. That's why, I mean, it's not deliberately growing right next to the Melissa, but you know, that's but it's very good for, it's an it's really good antispasmodic. It's a good stimulator, so it's good for period pains, good for irregular periods. It's warming.
Yes,
it's a bitter.
It's a warming bitter, which is quite unusual because most herbs which are bitter are much more cooling. Yeah,
cooling. In fact, we've got to go over to that. Since we've just mentioned that, let's go over to a very cooling bitter that grows in abundance here. Woohoo! Can you see that?
Yes,
now,
I love it.
I love it. And this grows wild here, and I have been working with this herb for, nearly 20 years. And this is Century, Erythrea.
Yes, and one of our strongest bitters, isn't it? One of
just one teeny flower, and woohoo! Very cool.
So talk us through bitters, because obviously, I talk about that a lot with patients and how bitter taste stimulates digestion, helps you to absorb the nutrients, stimulates the bile. And look at that, so beautiful. You can't. It's kind of deceptive, isn't it? It looks so. One taste though is going to. Yeah, so actually, tell us a bit about bitters, Daisy.
Well, you said quite a lot about bitters just right there. Now, this is Santolina. So basically, I find bitters absolutely fabulous. They can be, but also it's like, of course, the whole digestive aspect of things. They can also be very good in candida. They can be very good they can also be very good at clearing out. They can have this action even on worms. I mean, we just were with mugwort there, the Artemisias, those bitters, they do help. They have those anti-parasitical. Yes, which, I mean, obviously they have that action, but there is something about that bitter quality that I think is also there. This has an anti-insecticide aspect of things. Now, I have a bottle of bitters, for example. Sorry, I don't mean to. This is just something that's very exciting for me at the moment, and it's going to take a few years. But I've always gotten these Swedish bitters. But I have to say, because we have the Century, we have this Santolina, which is, can you see that? This is a warming bitter. This is an amazing bitter that I love. So this is, I don't know if you can see it now because the sun's behind me. That I have more of it in another spot, but really good for diabetes.
Yes.
And actually that particular Santolina and this Century have been in a diabetic tea with other herbs that, and oh my goodness, so good, so effective that the person was getting a bit naughty with the foods because she was doing so well.
And obviously, the other thing I find very helpful with bitters is their effect on the liver, isn't it? Which just means that they're able to help the liver to process and to break down waste products and clear them from the body, and has that effect on hormones as well, doesn't it? Helping to break down hormones. So
exactly, and emotions, so anger, frustration,
of course,
and all these, and these bitters are really brilliant when it comes to that. And even we did quite a couple day study on this Century, and was finding that people were really able to stand tall and speak their truth without getting encumbered by sort of guilt and but also I just really want to say that there's this aspect of compassion So it helps that whole bitter action dissipate, clear, cleansing, moving states on, moving emotions on, and leaving you in a much more peaceful, compassionate state. And there where you see the pink, then you see, oh, okay, so there's that whole heart aspect going on. And now talking of heart, because I'm wanting to, we could stay in any of these gardens for absolutely ages. I hope I'm not going too fast there. But I actually wanted to come here because this is something that I did from a teeny tiny baby and is still a teeny tiny baby. Can you see that?
Oh, wow.
It's the ginkgo.
Oh, Daisy. So that is going to be a huge tree one day.
I hope so. Yeah.
And ginkgo, I mean, obviously, you know, we know a lot about ginkgo, don't we? Its effect on improving the circulation, the memory. But also what I love about ginkgo is the fact that it was the tree that survived Chernobyl, isn't it? You know, it's just, it's the one tree that was still there.
Exactly.
Has,
so,
you know, it's an incredible survivor.
It's an incredible survivor, real ancient lady. I wonder if you can actually see that amazing leaf just there. Don't know if you can. I'm doing this all on my phone.
Doing great.
Okay, now we could do so much more in here, but I think, now I also just want to see how much juice I've got left. Yeah, not sure. Okay, so basically I'm going to walk. So that was the lovely enchanted. So much more to say, but we'll leave it there for the minute. I'm going to very slowly, over there is the orchard.
Yep.
There's a lovely olive. So of course, olives are the other big tree that we have a lot of here.
Yep.
Beautiful olives. And there's the orchard all over there. We're not going to go in there. Had lots and lots of blossoms earlier this year, and the fruits are coming. As I go this way, what we're going to do is walk towards the center, and we'll go through another garden, which is called, in fact, it's called Calendula's garden. I am showing you a fruit. This is a white mulberry. Can you see that?
Oh, wow.
Can you actually see it? And the white mulberry, there's a lot to say about the white mulberry, but one of them is it's a yin tonic. So it really helps build deficient states, exhaustion.
And fluids in the body then.
Yeah, exactly. Juicy. All berries actually have that kind of aspect to them. And here is a quince.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. A lot to say about quince, actually. And funnily enough, we just said quince is... Well, one thing is I learned recently is this downiness can be added to skin products and is really good for dry skin. Very good for the older skin.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And here's a fig.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Got lots of lovely figs.
Yeah, so they're growing, aren't they?
They're just taking their time. Teeny babies there. Teeny babies. But they'll be coming. Okay. So going to walk through here, not really going to stop. Where this is now, I'm entering the power gardens, known as the power gardens. We have lots of trees planted in here. Lots of trees planted in here. Over there is an area that's going to actually become a seating area and teaching space. Lots of wild around. And actually one tree, she's just coming into leaf now. This is the Moringa, which some people might have heard of. Can you see that?
Tell me a bit more about that. I don't know that herb, that tree.
The Moringa, well, it's one of those, I did this from seed actually, grows in Africa. The seed came from Africa. A friend of mine was visiting there and came. It's one of those, they make a green powder from it, and it's again cleansing, nourishing. It has both those qualities to it, and it's one of those superfoods. But for me, it was just exciting because I did it from seed, and now it's this tree. So that's kind of the most exciting thing about that in this moment, but we shall come back to that. I mean, in the future. So that's the thing about Serotonia. There's lots of plants that I know and love and work with. And then there are plants that are brand new to me that actually love this terrain. Here's Bougainvillea that you might know, or certainly heard of. And Bougainvillea is so known as a sort of Mediterranean flower.
It is.
But And again, this is like a new one for me when it comes to medicine, because it's good for high blood pressure, it's good for diabetes, helps balance cholesterol. And this is a very important medicine in the Philippines and countries like that. Yeah. There's some rosemary, but we'll come to, here's a walnut tree, which was also a teeny little sapling. Obviously, walnuts, we know about walnuts and the good essential fatty acids.
The omega-3s.
Exactly.
Just so good for our brain and our heart.
Exactly. And also the flower essence is good for change. And really,
yes, of course it is. I use it actually a lot in my menopausal tinctures.
Yes. Exactly.
So it helps with that adaptability, doesn't it? Adaptability to change.
Exactly. And so now I'm coming up a path called West Avenue. We've got names for everything. We can't help it. I'm not going to stop at these trees. It's another time. I'm only going to stop at this rose that was planted a few weeks ago, Beltane. This is a very old Portuguese rose.
So, I mean, I use rose a lot. I use rose a lot in medicine. So I use it especially for, obviously it's got a traditional use in grief and for in depression and for, for that concept of self-love, hasn't it? But I also, what I've been using it for recently is in Chinese medicine, it's used a lot for PMT and for menstrual problems, particularly like in the perimenopause. So when women are getting like a lot of breast tenderness or problems just before their period, so like worsening PMT, I find it's really helpful. Very very good for that.
It's I mean, rose is absolutely fantastic. And it really, again, it's a little bit of an underestimated, if you like, herb. Because it's an adaptogen, and it works. But it's so funny because you were sharing all of that information about rose, and this is where I wanted to come. We are outside of Calendula's garden. Calendula's garden is named that in honor of Calendula. We are about to enter a very dry garden. The garden we were just in the Enchanted gets watered quite regularly. It has quite a bit of shade. The garden that we're about to come to doesn't get that. It's a very, very hot spot. There's barely any shade, and calendula can't grow in there. But it's in honor of her, and basically, because I really work with the chakras, there are 7 pods, 7 different gardens within the garden, and they each represent the 7 main chakras, and I do different teachings around that. I do different healing and different teachings around that. But we'll go there in a second. But just on the outside is this, and this is a herb you know very well, and it's Vitex, Agnus castus, and she hasn't come into flower yet. The flower comes in June, although we've had so much rain, she'll probably come a little bit later actually. Absolutely beautiful flower. Look, this was I did it from seed.
So this is an amazing herb for PMT, isn't it?
Yes.
Actually, when I've been teaching, in my teaching, I've looked at the research, and there's some fantastic research papers showing how effective it is especially for PMT around that's worse, anxiety, particularly for anxiety-related PMT.
And exactly, especially anger. And actually, also, I have found with Vitex, very good for when a big hormonal transitional time comes.
Definitely.
Big ones, so going into puberty, perhaps, you might not always use it at that time, but wanting to get pregnant.
Absolutely.
Coming out, having had your baby, having had the baby, and then needing sort of hormonal sort of bring you together. And then, of course, menopause, but certainly early. So what an amazing sorry, go on.
No, it's fine. I mean, that's what I was just going to say. Yeah,
and it loves it here. And actually what's happened is I've got little cuttings, and they're all in the Enchanted. We didn't see them. I wanted you to see the big one, but we've got lots of baby cuttings because it loves it here. It's actually indigenous to the Moroccan foothills of the mountains. There's a lovely road. Yeah, so that's why it's definitely a Mediterranean herb. Right, so there's so much here. So here we are entering in we're coming in actually to the sacral because the vitex was just out there. There is another vitex just over there, small one. This is an oregano. This is a really big oregano, a Syrian one. Smells amazing. See, now we're coming into the area that scratch and sniff. Maybe one day in the future, the technology, the smells are amazing in this. So here we have wonderful oregano, very old-fashioned herb, especially in the Mediterranean for period pains, for regulating periods. I appreciate
antifungal, isn't it?
Exactly.
Amazing antifungal.
It is an amazing antifungal, and even in cancer care, that But in Portugal, it is very known for periods, and you do find that. I was just trying to think of what another herb. Well, I suppose. Well, there's a lot of sage here. Here's a sage. This is a small sage. Oh, can you see that?
So sage, another one of my favourites, actually.
Another
one which is so simple, isn't it? Like, but it does so many things. Like, obviously we're talking about hormonal things, so I mean, it's amazing for menopause, isn't it? For hot flushes.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I have literally helped people. The bees, by the way, have literally been on this particular great big bush for months. I'm not exaggerating. Months. If we just be quiet.
Is that a huge sage bush then?
This is all sage.
Oh, Daisy, that's incredible.
And this was done from a cutting. So literally, not with the flowers on it. You take, can you see that? Take a cutting, cut that, take the leaves off. Now that, pop in the earth. I'll come back to that in a minute because I really want to show you that. It's so funny, that little plant. But here, I did the same thing. This is all rosemary. This is the heart chakra in the middle.
Yeah.
And this was from one long piece of rosemary, cut in four, take the leaves off, pop, 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 4 spots. And actually, I've cut this right back. Last year, I cut this right back because it was so big and getting a bit straggly that I did a bit of a hardcore. I mean, I haven't bought rosemary tincture for years now. I make my own, and it's absolutely wonderful. Really
so tell me how you. So I use rosemary, I suppose, mostly for for digestion. It's really helpful, isn't it? And for in depression, for lifting mood, and for circulation, really, for that. The fact that it just has that effect on the circulation, helps to warm the body, and particularly towards the head, doesn't it? Used traditionally for headaches and migraines and to help with memory. So and I guess the other thing that we use it for a lot at Orchard Barn is in some of our massage oils for for aches and pains, and so amazing for sore aching muscles. Do you make any infused oils with it, Daisy?
I do. I make infused oils, and then I add that. So when I do all sorts for aches and pains predominantly, but I will say grief. This is an amazing herb for grief. Oh my Lord! Just literally a few drops. It's not that it suppresses the grief, but it allows you to get on with your day.
Yeah,
it just gives a bit of space. It's very, very, very supportive. And another big actual thing that I do is I make a gargle, right? So this is something completely different. It's particularly older men actually that have found this, but not just. It's actually also everybody's getting benefit from this. And this is when there's been chronic bronchitis, lots of antibiotic use and need, and then I have made a gargle. Rosemary, thyme, sage, and calendula. And in one case, actually, plantain is in there. They literally take a wee dose, diluted, gargle every day. They've not needed antibiotics ever since.
Wow.
I'm
not surprised because I'd imagine where you're growing it as well, the aromatic volatile oils in there, it's just the perfect climate for it to be such an amazing, I bet that you're getting such amazing constituents in there, aren't you?
Exactly. I mean, just really, it's right. I was just moving to it again, but yes, exactly. So you really do notice that because actually, funnily enough, and there is somebody that has it who has very, very low blood pressure and actually has got a pacemaker, and he has found that I do have hawthorn there as well, and some rosemary, and he just finds it quite a balancing aspect, and he likes to have that mix, and he takes a teeny amount fairly regularly, Well, I had run out of this. I had run out of my rosemary, and I hadn't been able to. Anyway, I had to buy some in, and he noticed. He noticed immediately.
I'm not surprised.
And I was, when I smelt it, I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. I can imagine that your environment's perfect for all these herbs, isn't it?
Exactly, because they really do bring up the volatile oils. And here we have more Santolina. So it's this amazing yellow flower. I just love it. I didn't finish quite what I was saying about once I have one last bottle of Swedish bitters. When that is over, I'm going to be making Serotonia bitters. So Mediterranean bitters. And the likes of rosemary and thyme and sage. And over here we've got, and Santolina there. And here is another aromatic that does really well. This is marjoram.
Oh,
so
lovely.
Again, might be more familiar with it as a essential oil. So it's great in massage, really tense muscles. But it's a fabulous tea. Oh my, it's so good. Very relaxing, very good digestive. So
I
again,
find it's a very relaxing essential oil, actually, isn't it? So
it's very strong smelling. The bees are there. And this is something that I do, is this aromatic medley, actually, because we have such an abundance here. And sometimes people don't quite like the taste of thyme, or they don't quite like the taste of sage, but actually having a pot and taking a bit of time, here's some time. The thyme's flower is nearly finished, actually, I'm afraid, but taking some thyme, taking some marjoram, taking a little sprig of rosemary, taking some sage, taking some oregano, a little bit of mint, and having that all in the pot. It's absolutely fabulous. It's such a delicious drink. It boosts the mood. It boosts the immune system. It has the circulatory effect. You know, it has this whole massive all-round actions. And you know, even if you're in Britain and you haven't got such an abundance of different aromatics, you've certainly got one or two. I bet you do, either in the garden or in a pot. And it's that coming, remembering that these amazing culinary herbs, just have so much as well to offer. That culinary aspect really helps with the bitter and helps with our digestive process, but then they have an amazing amount other going on as well.
That's it, just putting them into everyday life through like cooking and teas.
Yeah, exactly. And they're all, actually, all of this is the Lamiaceae family.
Yes, which is the mint family, isn't it?
It's the mint family. And here's a funny one, and this is the same family. Look at that.
I don't know that one.
And this is actually Leonortus leonora, but it is not motherwort at all, but actually the leaf isn't a million miles away. Again, all very similar actions than we're talking about, but it's a brand new herb to me and it loves it here. Obviously it does. And I just fell in love with it when I saw it. I did it from seed to start with, but I actually managed to find a place that sold these plants.
That is
so
it's
really,
isn't it?
It's pretty incredible. I mean, I don't know if you can see how it starts.
Coming out of the petals.
Yeah. It's also called lion's tail, which makes sense. So I do see that I'm on 30%. I don't know how much more. I wanted to show you this. This is in the root chakra, and this is, is Echinacea. She's not coming to flower yet. She's not coming to flower, but you can see she will quite soon. So of course, Echinacea is a brilliant herb.
Yep. Immune stimulant, lymphatic, isn't it? Useful to help with like preventing coughs and colds and any type of infection, really, because it has such a good effect on the immune system, doesn't it? And do you actually do you harvest that? And I mean, I've always been taught that the roots are the best part, but then that's a shame because you lose the whole plant, don't you?
Well, exactly. And again, that's what we've not been doing here, like with the Valerian, like that. But I had an extraordinary, it was a few years ago actually, and so this was, just to answer the question as well, is that so much of the herbs are still all about seeing who wants to grow here, understanding them, learning about them, sharing them with other people, and when they're really in their abundance, then yes, making medicines from them. Echinacea is amazing that it's in this garden. It's more abundant in the Enchanted.
Yeah.
But to share, I actually had a terrible lung infection. It was myself, and it was about 3 years ago, and nothing was shifting. And they were in flower, these beautiful, the cone flowers, those pink flowers. I cut a couple and put it in my tea, and I was absolutely taken by the robustness of that flower. How it didn't, like, even in the boiling hot water and stuff, it didn't sort of disintegrate or anything. It was still so robust. So just as a signature,
Yes.
I felt that very interesting. I mean, I know that there are some of our herb suppliers that actually do produce a tincture that uses the whole plant.
They do.
I do like it. I do like it. I do want to add that, and I'm going to be doing a whole thing about pomegranate quite soon. We didn't go into the orchard, but you know what actually cleared that chest of mine?
No, what was that?
No, it was the pomegranate. I couldn't take the honey anymore. I mean, of course, it probably was a combination of everything, but then I just started knocking in, Jamie Oliver style, knocking in the pomegranates, because we have a lot of pomegranates here. And sorry, because I'm just on that plant, and I'm not, sorry. And just knocking in the pomegranates, like put a whole pomegranate into the hot water with those other great herbs, and within 24 hours, I thought, I've done it. Shifted it, those amazing pomegranates. So I'm going to be doing a whole workshop on pomegranate actually later this year, because it is an amazing herb. It's an amazing herb, actually, medicine-wise, anti-inflammatory, another menopausal herb. In actual fact, here in Portugal, well, Mediterranean, it's quite a popular hormonal menopausal herb. And Persephone, she is that goddess, she always has a pomegranate. It's the life, I wasn't going to be talking about things like this, but life and death. It's that cycle of life, the whole.
Yes.
So the pomegranate has a part to play in all of that, but it's an immense immune tonic and really gets into infections. Very, very interesting herb. But where I am standing here is another one of those that we're more familiar as an essential oil, but grows here really abundantly. This is Pelargonium graveolens, geranium. And look at it. It is a beauty. The smell is absolutely fabulous. It's really the leaf that smells, not so much the flower. Yes. I make a tincture from this, and in actual fact, when women, where normally Vitex would really do it, and perhaps they've been taking Vitex for too long or something like that, I get them off of the Vitex and I put them on this, and it's been amazing.
So a hormone balancer,
number one,
which is actually the essential oil is used for that, isn't it? So
exactly,
yeah, that makes sense.
It does. So you really get that from it. It really lifts the mood. It really brings joy. Really does. And it's something that's very underestimated or just forgotten about, like Vitex as well. It's a brilliant liver herb. And this is a really good liver cleanser. So this is another great thing about geranium. I don't know how we're doing. How I'm actually, I mean, there's so much.
Maybe give me 2 more plants. I think I'm worried about your battery dying, actually.
Okay, because I thought maybe, I mean, I'm moving swiftly.
How are you doing for your battery?
There's some camera.
Yes.
23. That was quite good, actually.
So lovely chamomile, which is one of our very nice gentle herbs for the digestion, for helping you to sleep.
Yes.
I use it all the time, actually. Anti-inflammatory, isn't it? I think camomile's another one of those forgotten.
It's another forgotten.
Overlooked.
Overlooked. That's the word. Overlooked. Because I suppose I'm doing this a bit madly. This was the first garden that we actually created. This is actually in front of the building. This is the first garden. So this is a bit more. But I suppose there's a whole load of fennel.
Yes. So tell us about fennel. Herb. That's an easy herb for people to grow in the garden at home, actually, isn't it?
Really easy. It grows wild here. Well, I tell you a quick story right now about fennel. Another bitter. It's an aromatic. It's a warming aromatic. Another liver herb, and it's good for many things, but recently somebody just was finding it really difficult to digest cabbage, Brussels sprouts, even curries, and didn't really want to stop eating those foods.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, but I put just a wee drop, just like 5 ml in the whole mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a real happy thank you, because she has found that just that little bit of fennel has helped her whole digestive process and been able to actually really consume those vegetables without lots of wind and bloating. So that's it's really good. But also, that's why I stumbled there, because of course, you know what came into my head first of all is it's great thing for breast milk. It's great in when early motherhood, great for breast milk, soothing, good for colic, so it actually helps the baby. And there is this thing, so
actually the mother drinking it will go through into the breast milk, won't it, which is great.
Exactly.
Helps the baby with colic.
That's it. So it's an absolute fabulous herb. It's really good. I mean, it is another thing that I say to a lot of people is about chew. So fennel seed, that's the tincture that we have, but fennel seeds, caraway seeds, cumin seeds.
Oh, Daisy, I've lost you. Oh yeah, there you're back.
Yeah, it just said low battery. It's because as we finish, I wanted to bring it to the nursery, because this garden, that all the gardens that we've seen, although I am finally finding some good suppliers, I have done so much by seed, and I do love talking about seeds, the seed chew before your meal. And now we've just quickly come into the nursery. So all these plants have been done. There's some verbascums. Yeah. And so these are lemongrass. We didn't even stop at the lemongrass. But actually, that's another. We have big ones out there. These are all done from seed. And look, there's an apricot.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Apricot. Oh, we've got a lot of apricots there, actually. Lovely, lovely. And here are the vegetables. Some tomatoes. They need to go in. But here's the vegetable garden. So we've been having lots of lovely vegetables. Can you see that? Cauliflower.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm kind of digressing. Although, there we go. There is a lovely, I picked all the artichokes off it earlier, but I've made a tincture from the leaf, because this is fabulous for gallbladder. Well, we won't talk about gallstones.
I use it a lot, actually. Artichoke, I find it so helpful for helping absorption of fats, for very sluggish digestions. It just seems to really help get everything moving, help you to digest your nutrients better. Really helps with, I found it very helpful for acid reflux and indigestion, actually just even calming down the actual sort of burning and reflux, actually, it just seems to get everything moving through so much better. Wonderful.
It is. It's an absolutely fabulous, and I am so pleased to have made a tincture, because I do also work with it quite a lot. I really do. Obviously, that's the Asteraceae family, so we passed it very briefly, but there was milk thistle. And I do work with milk thistle, of course. But like yourself, I love sayonara. I love working with sayonara. There's a whole load of Melissa, and there's the old veggies. So we've been eating a lot of veggies. And this was also supposed to be a vegetable garden, but it turned into another herb garden. And this is actually, you can't really see so much. I'm doing it very quickly. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of different things in there. Lots of Artemisia. And what's come literally in the last few days is loads of red clover.
Wow,
wonderful. So it's all red clover.
So red clover is very rich in isoflavones, isn't it? Used for menopause. Fantastic for full of phytoestrogens and really helpful for that transition into menopause, isn't it? And for
it really is
for cooling the hot flushes.
Exactly. Blood tonic, also good for coughs. Very soothing. It's really good for, and it's actually good for children. I do work with it with children.
For eczema
and definitely exactly skin
conditions.
But also just coming back to what you were talking about, also I have helped older ladies, not older for goodness sake, but women in their late 30s, early 40s actually get pregnant. So it's a great fertility herb as well, actually, particularly when women are a bit older. That's what I meant. Just
yes.
There's some almonds. We have a lot of almonds. Okay, Sally. Well,
that's wonderful.
Really
Thank you so much, Daisy. I'm definitely coming back with a proper with a proper camera, and we're going to do this a little bit more officially. But it's been so lovely to have a quick whiz around your garden and see see the sunshine and everything growing. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. Sending lots of love to all of you there, and you know, thank you. And actually, if people have any questions or would like to know more about serotonin, we're going to post all about it below the blog and have a link on the website, so you'll be able to find out more information from that. Because obviously, as soon as lockdown's over, I'm sure your courses and retreats will start again, won't they? So people want to visit, they can do. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, Sally.
Bye.
Well, thank you very much. Bye bye. Lots of love. Bye bye.